Alright, so... the bookshelf.
Yes, that one little thing that popped up there. What is this?
The Honey Adventure.
Hey then.
I see Beo and Touko.
Oh boy.
Panic. It had been 1 year since he'd moved into the city from his remote village. One thing he realized during that time is that likes and dislikes were the main difference between human and beast.
Hmm. ここが新しいアジトか。うん、いいんじゃない？ちょっとみすぼらしいけど、周りに人間がいないのは綺麗でいいよね。
The figure dressed in a white coat danced to and fro down the hallway. He was like a young woman in an old film, enjoying herself window shopping.
Okay.
He was actually enjoying the atrocious sight of the school building in ruins.
そこ、あんまりはしゃがないの。何しろ築60年からの廃屋なんだから。
himself falling through the floor.
Hey, Touko, was the old school building still the current school building when you were going to school?
I don't think she's that old.
Well, not like... I don't know that we were ever told how long ago it stopped being the current school building.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But, like, if it's only, a few years out, she might have actually gone to that school building as opposed to the current one.
Not sure.
Then again, she might have just gone to school back where
Alice's school or something.
Or back where her parents live.
Yeah, hard to say.
Although, I guess it was pretty much outright made a point that she was at least interacting with Alice and Alice's mom.
Oh yeah, she was there
Aoko
for...
took over the...
Yeah, before she became the official
調子
successor.
に乗ってるとバキッと床を踏み抜いて。
His mouth shut before he could even say to let him have his fun. Only one set of footsteps echoed through the hallway. Not a single feather's worth of his 70-pound body was exerting any force on the floor beneath him.
Wow.
It wasn't clear whether he was paying reverence to the hallway or simply excited by it. It said that even walking through a grassy field, a beast is careful not to harm a single blade of grass.
Huh.
Apparently, this creature wrapped in a coat was no different. He was more a part of the environment itself than a settler of it. He held no regard beasts for... What?
He held no regard for beasts greater or lesser than him?
Probably! He held no regard beasts for greater or lesser than him, but when it came to his comrades, he at least displayed human-like or rather wolf-like You can't... Guys...
I don't know why there's a...
Guys, you can't...
Human-like or...
They're doing that, like, hyphenation thing where
well,
they use hyphens instead of, like, commas.
Yeah.
But they didn't... You can't do that after you've already hyphenated a word when you don't bother to put spaces in your hyphenations for your breaks.
That's bad
and then you didn't bother to do it after Clike before Clemency where you needed another one.
Yeah.
It should have...
Or rather, wolf-like, comma, clemency.
Clemency,
yeah,
right.
I know. Oof. Here's hoping you get that translation update, Patch.
Oh, my lord.
ま、相性はいいとプラスに考えましょう。街に出かけてくるけど、何か欲しいものはある？漫画とか小説とか。
Does he read manga?
Well, I mean, she did offer to buy him manga, so...
Yeah.
特にいりま
This
せん。
is the 80s. Yes, I would like the latest chapter of Dragon Ball, please.
パン生地がどっしりしてて、ハンバーグがギュッとしたやつがいい。
Just bring him back beef.
I would like some McDonald's, please. Please stop by and get me some McDonald's on the way home.
Yeah.
まだおもちゃより食い気ときた。食事の調達方法も確保しないとダメみたいね。
I mean, I'm pretty sure McDonald's is a reliable source of food.
失敗したかな。ルームサービスのあるホテルの方が後々証拠は残らなそう。
Potentially.
Yeah, it would have been a lot less suspicious to have, like, large orders of meat going to a hotel than to have large orders of meat going to a random abandoned building. You know. saying. Touko let out a defeated sigh. Then again, it didn't seem to matter because Aoko and Alice weren't smart enough to figure this out. For some godforsaken reason.
They didn't really know
I guess
about the
Alice
floors
was
and stuff.
I guess Alice was too busy hiding the Book of Rune Magecraft. With her glasses on, she was restricted to her original way of speaking and gesturing.
Oh, so she's not being aggressive with her glasses on or something?
It was the beginning of December. Exactly 1 month had passed since they came to Misaki City. They were here for like an entire month. Just chilling out under your nose
just preparing.
Before they even started antagonizing you.
Well, that's because she had to set up her base and all her traps and everything. She had to have a fortified base before she went on the offensive.
Until now, Touko had been attacking Misaki from a nearby neighborhood. Deciding it was time to get serious, she'd moved her base of operations to this old school building.
何？ホテルの方が良かったの？そりゃ楽だもの。グレードが良ければホテル暮らしは快適です。でもトウコさん、こういう廃墟好きだよね。え？そうかな？
She doesn't seem to understand this
そうだ
either.
よ。今回みたいなのは特にそう。趣味に走るとき、周りに人がいるの嫌がるじゃない。いろんなものに興味を持つくせに、興味を持たれるのは面倒っていうか。
Touko couldn't deny that observation. She'd been under contract with him for 2 years, but it had only been about a year since he became her full-time bodyguard. Before that, he was just a part-timer.
Right.
He seemed to be able to see right through to the root of all the problems that plagued Touko, and also to the root.
I mean, I hope he can't see the root. That'd be really bad for us.
I mean, he's a phantasmal. Maybe they just get to do that.
I don't think so.
人混みは嫌いじゃないんだけどね。ハイビルでもハイ工場でも、いっそあの遊園地でもよかったのよ。でもこんな田舎町じゃ君を連れているだけで噂になるでしょ。結果的にここに工房を構えるしかなかったの。ちゃんと人型になってるじゃん僕。別に目立たないと思うけどな。
You're blonde in Japan. Soujuuro immediately pegged you as
you're blonde in Japan with like green eyes.
Yeah.
You stick out like a sore thumb. And that's with Touko having red hair.
Right.
色合いの問題です。アジア系は無理にしても、せめてブルネットに化けてくれればいくらでもごまかせるんだけど。
Says the woman with red hair in Japan.
Well, she has Asian facial features, I guess, so she can get by easier.
Unfortunately, that wouldn't be happening. Simply being in human form at all was stressful for him. When he had to be human, his only condition was that he could look however he wanted. He was currently only in this form because they had to move from the town to the old school building. Once he found a classroom to sleep in, he'd be back to a wolf.
なんだって人型でいるのを嫌がるのかしらね。別に難しいわけじゃないでしょ、それ。もともとアストラル体みたいなものなんだから、あなた。
Being an extremely versatile life form, which required no body to stabilize him.
Here to finish that sentence.
In the physical world. Really, that's where you chose to break that. His body could change according to the situation. Magecraft would have defined him as a higher dimensional life form with a materialized soul. Are you implying he's basically a servant?
Well, no, I think they're just implying that he's like a spiritual being that doesn't strictly need his body, which isn't necessarily...
A servant. In some ways, that's very similar to...
There's a lot of different kinds of astral bodies.
そりゃあ何の力もリスクもないけど、面倒なものは面倒だよ。人間だって無駄なことはしたくないでしょ。僕、人型になることに有利性を全く感じないし。
Apparently, he saw no value at all in his human form.
Well...
That was exactly why Touko insisted he make his appearance blend in more, but the boy argued that if he had to be in an unnatural state, he'd at least make himself comfortable. To him, this was the only fun way to be human, and he wasn't going to accept it any other way. And what was Touko gonna do about it?
Exactly, yeah.
And so, this was why he'd taken on the appearance of a foreign aristocrat in a provincial Japanese city.
Okay.
Even his posh coat had been handpicked by Touko to satisfy one of his many demands.
じゃあお留守番お願いねベオくん。来ないとは思うけど、もし人が来たら捕まえておいて。その際足の一本ぐらいなら傷つけても OK だから。
No more than
Jeez.
one leg. That's definitely gonna give you away. Like, that guy with one less leg hobbles back down. He's like, there's a wolf in the old school building that ripped my leg off.
It's the size of a car.
And with that statement, Touko headed off into the city.
はーい、任されました。
Totally.
大丈夫。人間とかそもそも口に合わないし。
So you say.
こっちのことは気にせず、ピリピリするお土産よろしくね。
Beo plopped down onto a desk after he saw his employer off. He morphed back into his wolf form.
ああ、退屈。世界中を回ってこんな田舎町が終着とか。拍子抜けもいいところ。
You ended up here because this was always Toko's goal.
It had been 2 years since Beo met Touko Aozaki. After some deliberation with the werewolves, the magic was left in charge of... The mage was left in charge of Beo's education.
I see.
Of course, his village had no real control over him. He didn't have to go with her. He decided to go simply because she seemed interesting.
Right.
Touko stood before him in the cave where he slept and asked,
生きている意味が知りたい？なんだ、そんなことで取引が成立するとはね。
She smiled and cut off her long locks of hair to seal the pact.
自由を知るには窮屈さを知っておかないとね。
You couldn't have bothered to have long-haired Touko for even just the frame before
I
she
know.
cut it off. Like, come on, dude.
同じように。
I know you drew long-haired Touko. It's in the book.
まずは死ねないこだわりを見つけないと。
You'll have to watch Kara no Kyokai if you want to see that.
そうだな。例えばの話。そいつを殺すまではとてもじゃないが死ねないほどの憎しみとか。
That hair was 20 years'
Years, yeah.
worth of Toko's life. But you don't need a possessive on years there. The year did not possess the... In a way, her hair was a part of herself, but she parted with it easily. She was sure that Beo was worth the 20 years it had taken her to grow that hair.
I mean, he should have been.
Beo, too, sensed that Touko was a creature of rare value. He was happy to have been selected by someone of her unusual talents, and though she preached learning restraint, he observed that she was a truly free woman. And then, Beo accepted the terms of her contract and left his village. He took his first steps into the outside world. The first year was spent at Touko's workshop in England, learning basic knowledge. Namely, it was at College of the Mages Association, called the Clock Tower.
Yep.
At the time, Touko had her own dedicated familiar.
Oh, I see.
Formally speaking, this familiar was Beo's senior. But in that year's time, Beo proved himself superior and earned the right to travel the world with Touko. They rode on a train that collected mystic eyes, known as the Rail Zeppelin. Of course you did.
Yep.
They saw the Merkrake, an ancient giant octopus living in the North Sea.
I'm not familiar with that one.
They explored the Bermuda Triangle, a place of no return connected to other realms. They met the remains of a mage of the Elder title, a league of ancients deep in Western Europe. All of their exploits were odd and exciting enough to hold his interest. And through them all, Beo felt that he'd been right to join Touko. Hey, can we see the adventures of Touko and Beo on the Rail Zeppelin? That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
This was certainly less boring than sleeping in his cave. But sweet honey makes one crave even sweeter poison. Listen, I've never once put honey in my tea and gone, I wish there was poison in this instead. That's not a thing. Having developed a taste for adventure, he now demanded even greater thrills. It was only natural that such an innocent creature would start to look forward to its next prey. The pinnacle of that desire rested on Touko's final goal. For all her liberty in a palm, there was one prey she would not stop chasing until she caught it once and for all. With every new adventure, Beo would ask,
ねえ、これがトウコさんの殺したい相手？
However, the mage would always smile wryly and shake her head in response. Even this puppet master of extraordinary talent claimed that it was no easy task. Her target was in a realm far beyond anyone they'd dealt with so far, beyond human knowledge. Perhaps beyond even Beo. But who could this mysterious person be, and how could they be so powerful? Beo couldn't help but be curious. Discovering that he was hired for magical reasons, he mustered a rare bit of fighting spirit, thinking he'd found a worthy foe, but...
冷静になって考えてみると、本物が偽物を相手にするとか大人げないかも。魔法なんて言っても、結局は人間の手によるものなんだし。
I mean, you say that, but strictly speaking, true magic is older than phantasmals.
And it comes
so
from the
I'm
root of all
pretty
creation.
sure you auto-lose to it.
Possibly.
Clearly, it was still only interested in itself.
Yeah,
it
he's
knew
not that
nothing
interested.
of life or freedom. Its only pleasure was found in food. Beo didn't necessarily feel dissatisfied, but it was becoming harder to stave off his boredom. Also, since accompanying Touko on her adventures, his feelings towards her had become a bit confused.
Confused how?
トウコさん、あれでほんと一途だから。
Ah,
何
not
でも
feeling
で
it
きるの
anymore.
は僕と同じなのに、何にでも一生懸命になれるのって。
He slumped his shoulders exaggeratedly and closed his eyes. The golden wolf slipped off to sleep, not realizing that his feelings were in fact those of jealousy.
Okay.
4年ぶりに帰ってきてみれば、住み慣れた町の面影はどこへやら。駅前なんてもう別物だし、大手術にも程が。ああ、やっぱり角のタバコ屋さんな
Ah,
く
her
なって
smoke
る。
shop is gone.
ああ、自動販売機でタバコを買うのにもそろそろ慣れなくちゃいけない。
Man, I gotta buy peasant cigs out of vending machines.